Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Aaron RideXP. Today, I thought I'd give you a glimpse into my creative process, kind of how I approach, think about a moto vlog edit, because basically, Dehancer sent me their plugin to try, and I thought it was the perfect opportunity to let you in on my creative process while giving their product an honest review, which is all they asked for. What is Dehancer? It's basically a really cool, honestly quite premium plugin out of all the ones I've used that gives you an authentic film look by emulating an authentic analog workflow. And it's perfect for things like this. This is a vlog I did with the Bear 650, and especially for Instagram Reels, similar content, having the ability to create a more or less authentic looking retro vibe, I think really adds a lot to the video, to the audience experience. I know there's a lot of video creators on YouTube who are quite obsessive with the whole color grading thing, who take a lot of time. To be perfectly honest, that's not super important to me. Not because it doesn't really help create kind of a higher production value video, but because, I'm doing long videos, travel vlogs, which take a ton of time, and my priority is really the storytelling, and color is honestly secondary to all that. And I'm also trying to stick to certain timelines when I'm publishing a series of vlogs. So what I need for a color plugin like this is for it to give me good results in a short amount of time. And off the bat, before I demonstrate, I want to tell you that what I like best about Dehancer is that you can go as deep as you want in this simulated digital film process with all of the different steps, which I'll show you in a minute. But also, if you just want to make a few clicks and have an interesting result, you can do that too. So let me show you quickly how that works in the context of this kind of quick highlights edit from my Bear 650 vlogs, using 3 different cameras: my mirrorless, my action cam, and my drone. Alright, I've got my sequence here, so before I show you the color, let me play back this clip for you and talk you over what's going on. So I start with my mirrorless clip, some riding footage. So this is riding on the way to Baler. So I got some nice riding footage over here. Transitioning to, let's put a dissolve there. Transitioning to me arriving at my accommodation. Taking the bag off. And then another dissolve to kind of just have this beauty shot of the bike indicating a passage of time. Dissolving again to me, now taking off without my luggage to explore around Baler. And then going off into the mountains. So as you can see, it's kind of a pretty straightforward set of B-roll, but these actually aren't even shot in sequence. Like, for example, this shot was shot before this shot. And we're just kind of creating the illusion that it's all happening in sequence. So that's something you could, if you want to do this style of shots off the bike, to have a treatment that's a little bit more cinematic than a typical vlog, all you really need to do is to do some simple pre-planning, imagining how the shots will all go together. So I shot this first, and I thought that, if I go back to the corner and shoot this shot, then it would help bring us into that shot. And see, now you see I'm going into the mountains. So there's kind of an implication of like exploration, maybe going off-road. So then I can dissolve to this shot. You still have like this green mountain background connecting you to this green mountain background. And just a little bit of super light off-road action. And I shot this in 60p. So right now it's playing in 24 frames per second. And then a little bit of teeny slow motion just to emphasize that moment. Dissolving to me going back on the street. A little bit of exhaust sound. And then dissolving to this drone shot of me on the same bridge. Cutting to the wide on one side with the sun illuminating me, and then cutting back to an even wider shot with the sun now backlighting the whole scene. So kind of nice, simple storytelling that uses 3 different cameras. And so now what I want to do is basically use Dehancer to unify the look between these 3 cameras and add really just the icing on top of having a retro vibe that goes with the bike, the Bear 650 Retro Scrambler, that also just kind of gives that little bit more feel that makes you wish that you were the person doing this. And I think that that element of aspiration, of wanting to be the person in these shots, is a really powerful element that makes videos more appealing. I've already pre-prepared the Dehancer look for each of these, but let me show you how I kind of build that look. So again, this is shot on my mirrorless camera, my A6700. It's not shot in log. It's just plain old Rec 709. PP11. I'll double click Dehancer. And it already has kind of a default setting. Oops, it's over here. All right, let's pick a shot where I'm in the light. So this is a good example because there's lots of lights and shadows, so you can see kind of what the shot is doing. If I shot this in log, I would choose camera, select Sony A6700. But again, it's not so. Let's go to plain old Rec 709. And now here is one of the basically main things you'll be going through. Now, if you're a bit of a film nerd and you're a little bit familiar with the old school film cinema process, then there's a lot for you to play with here. All of the different film stocks. At this point, it's kind of like just choosing a lot. That Instax look. Lots of different things to play with. You even have this Lomo look. That actually looks really cool. I like that. There's even black and white film. This is super old school ambrotype. We're talking about 19th century here. Generally, I like to stick to the low ISO film stocks. There you go, Fujifilm Velvia 50. Let me just double check that that's what I've been using. Yes, it is. And then, as you can see here, there's controls for kind of every step of that, simulating that old analog film process. So for the color nerds out there, there's a lot for you to play with. But for me, again, I just really need quick, high quality results. And the great thing that I've found testing Dehancer is that you don't need to be a big nerd. You don't know how to really work with any of these, because I sure don't. Again, for me, the most important thing is the story and just adding this on top to kind of put it over the top. So again, you have your film developer, film compression, expand. This doesn't really do much in the context of my shots, so I'll uncheck that so as not to overtax my tiny laptop here. Print, you can even use like simulate different papers. Let's see how that looks. So like linear, print film, glossy paper. So for now, I'll go with linear. Just leave that enabled. Color head, again, more color nerd stuff that's beyond my pay grade. Now here's something. So film grain, again, it's a really nice element to add. I think I'm gonna go for a little less grain. So choose a lower ISO 35mm film, and then you can simulate film grain from like different kinds of film stocks all the way from 8mm. You can't really see it on this screen, but you get the idea. And now we get to kind of one of my favorite, two of my favorite elements here in Dehancer, which are halation and bloom. Now, again, I don't really know how to technically explain each of these, but they're just basically forms of film imperfection that have become part of the look due to, I guess, how our eyes have gotten used to how film actually looks when we see it. So when I turn on halation, as you can see, it kind of adds this nice fringing along the highlights. Really adds a nice vibe. And then I add bloom, which kind of adds this blooming around the highlight. So again, bloom on, off, bloom on, halation off, halation on. If you want to, you could add like scratches, more film damage, but I don't need that. It'll also really slow down my laptop. It'll take forever to render. Film breath and gate weave kind of introduces imperfections in like simulating how film sometimes wiggles when it's projected. That's cool, but again, we don't need that. I think that's going over the top. Overscan, this is super handy because it's great, especially for social media content or just for select moments in your edit. So if you enable it, see, you have overscan, which means it shows the perforations of the film. So that's really cool, especially for like your Instagram reels. And you can choose different types of overscan from your Super 8, 16mm, Ultra 16mm, your widescreen, all the way to your 65mm film. For me, let's just go with standard Super 35. So I'm not going to use it for this video, but it's just a cool thing that you can do with Dehancer. I also like to add a little bit of a vignette. Size. There. Yeah. So again, just very subtle. I don't like applying looks that hit you over the head and insist on themselves. I just want really something that's a bit subtle, really just adds a bit of a vibe. And then if you create a look, you can even generate a LUT. You can export a whole LUT, which is really handy if you kind of worked really hard to nail a specific look. So now let's see how that looks if we turn it on for all of the clips. Let's check that out. Let's go to a good moment there. Before, after. Looks really nice on this slightly overexposed clip. Before, after. So it actually works really, because the thing about film is that it responds to highlights completely differently than digital. And basically, this film emulation is trying to emulate that really cool way that film responds to overexposure. It really softens it out, because I think this shot, when it's overexposed, it looks very digital, kind of overexposed. That certain like sharp digital look, and then the film emulation really just softens out these highlights, these overexposed highlights, such that I don't really feel the need to correct the exposure that much, just to get that kind of proper contrast. And now let's apply this look to the action cam. So we'll just hit Command C, Command Shift V, just pick Dehancer. But the difference now is, because this is a different camera, we need to determine the base. So it's cool because I can just here, DJI. This is the Action 5 Pro, but it uses the same D-Log M as the Osmo Action 4. So that basically just maximizes what you can get out of specific cameras. So before and after. Looks good, very film, very old school look here. And then let's do the same for my drone shots. And then, again, we're gonna choose our camera, select DJI, select the... So the Mini 3 isn't here, but it uses a similar color space. Let's see if we use Mavic 3. That looks good. Mavic Air. So here I'm just trying to pick kind of what looks best, because the camera, the specific drone isn't represented here. Is it Air 2S or Mavic 3? Yeah, I think Air 2S looks good. And then again, copy and paste. All right. And now let's play back the sequence with a little bit of music so you can experience the whole vibe. alright, that does it for the video demo. Dehancer also asked me as a favor to feature their iOS app. So basically the app is free, but you do need to log in with your activated license to use the features. And this is going to be mainly for photos, but it also works with video. So just a quick demo. Basically here I got my photos from my trip to Qatar with my family. Gonna pick a nice photo to load. Loaded this photo with a Land Cruiser, and it's pretty much the same workflow. You can choose from all of the different film stocks. Choose the one you like best. Scroll through, there's a preview of all the different film stocks. And honestly, the controls are actually quite similar compared to the plugin that I'm using in FCP X. So if you kind of get used to how to work the plugins in your video editing program, basically you just have the same set of controls. Again, you don't need to understand what everything means. You can just play around with the sliders to see the look you want to create. They did a really good job translating between the iOS app and the desktop app, where you actually preserve all of the different controls, but have the simplicity that you can just do it on your phone. Again, here, your different style of halation, bloom, and vignette to get that really old school film print look that you want. Once you're done, you can just hit export and save it to your phone gallery, and there's the photo. So overall, what do I think of Dehancer? I think it's a really powerful premium suite of tools, whether you're just doing photo or video or both like I am. The results are really high quality, and actually the program's constantly being updated with different film profiles. So what I feel is that these guys obviously really care about kind of being the best in-class product that offers you both deep flexibility and customizability of looks for color nerds, but also quick and fun results for more casual colorists like me, and probably you if you're just doing content. And I think it's great for a content creator, especially on Instagram, where visuals still really matter more. But it's also a good tool, I think, for actual full-fledged filmmakers, even wedding filmmakers especially, to really have the option for an authentic, fun film look with high quality results. And the cons would be basically that I've found, well, one con I would say is it's hard to batch edit. You can copy paste results both on the desktop and the iOS app, but basically, especially when you're working with photos in Lightroom, it's not just copy one and paste to all. It's kind of just a one-by-one process of copying the settings right now. But like in the iOS app, if you open a second photo, it automatically applies the last look to the next photo. But again, it's a one-by-one process. It's not like edit one and copy to the rest. So it's just a little bit slow and very processor intensive. So if I have all of the effects on here on a single clip on my FCP X timeline on my M1 MacBook Pro, it really bogs down the system. You won't be able to play in real time. So if you really want to be able to quickly play with the different looks, you're going to need a faster computer. And the final con is that quality doesn't come cheap. This is a product that I can really feel the developers invested time and passion in. They update it constantly. And so quality demands a price. So here's the pricing on screen now. It starts at $11 a month or $132 annually just for photo. And for people like me, individuals, it goes up to $25 a month or $300 a year. That's not cheap, but if you're a pro or serious enthusiast who wants quality results with a minimum of fuss, then it might be worth it for you. If you do want to try out Dehancer and you end up loving it, you can use my discount code AaronP for a 10% discount. And I also make a little bit back from that at no extra cost to you. So again, I think this is a good opportunity to try this while also helping to support the channel with a tiny bit of your subscription. So again, I hope that was helpful for all of you moto creatives and filmmakers out there. Thanks for watching. The Bear 650 review is up next. I will see you next time.